Hello, and welcome to Next Generation Behavioral Health.
10-minute tips for modernizing patient care.
I'm Dr. Christina Armstrong.
And I'm Dr. Julie Kinn.
Today we have back with us Dr. Kelly Blasco, who is a counseling psychologist and military, child, and family expert at the Defense Health Agency in the U.S. Department of Defense. Welcome back, Kelly.
Thank you.
Last episode, we talked about some of the issues that military kids have and some of the resources that the Department of Defense has created and that you've been involved with to help support those military families. And today we'd like to talk about some of the resources and issues and challenges concerning the older kids in military families.
Kelly, one of the resources that I hold nearest and dearest to my heart is Military Kids Connect, which you essentially initiated from the ground up. Can you tell us more about this website?
Yes, it's actually a website and has turned into a lot more than a website. And we also have social media channels. But as you said, actually it is for older children. Although in the Department of Defense, the little children are a fairly large number, we actually have just as many between the ages of 6 and 17. And Military Kids Connect was designed to address issues across that age range. Of course, we separate out things that are age appropriate for the younger children compared to the older children. But the main goal of Military Kids Connect is the same for all. It's to give them stress management skills and to connect them with their peers. I specifically wanted to mention about the peer support. We do that in a lot of ways. One is kids can listen to each other talk about their problems being a military kids or what has worked well to cope under different circumstances. So there's a lot of videos. There's videos of military children. There's videos of a family talking about how they coped. There are animated graphic novels that tell stories about how a teenager or a young child might cope when a parent has PTSD.
Yeah, those are incredible. That's always the part of the site that I point out to people immediately. Sorry for interrupting.
Well, the good thing is we want to reach them in ways that they will listen to. So an animated graphic novel is a lot more fun than reading a dissertation. But we also have a message board, which really is intended for the children 9 to 17. And the idea is that military kids can post messages on this message board and get responses from other military kids. But one of the keys to this community is that it needs to be safe and secure. We don't want any of our military children to be bullied, to be at any risk of harm. And so any post that comes through the message board is actually moderated by an expert here in DHA. And then it's posted once it's been cleared. Another area that we have to be really careful to keep our kids safe is around operation security. Basically, just not revealing any information that would be harmful related to a deployment or a move or something that might put their parent or the military at risk in general.
Right. Oh, that's such a good point because, for a kid to maybe know that their parent is deploying to a certain area of Afghanistan, they're probably not going to be thinking, oh, I shouldn't blast this out on social media. But to us, we're always very cautious and aware. So I'm glad that you guys put all those safety mechanisms in place, not only for the safety of the kids and the teens, but also for operational security as well.
I was also going to say that we connect kids on social media. We have a really big Facebook and Instagram community for kids. We put out messaging every month, almost every day, that's relevant to kids in general and then military specific. And we have such engagement sometimes that is so exciting. For example, kids within the Department of Defense education activity schools created a suicide prevention public service announcement.
Wow.
That just got lots of kids engaged and was so exciting.
That is wonderful. You know, one of the areas of Military Kids Connect that I really love, besides the graphic novels, which also I think that's one of my favorite sections, is the section for teachers. Because, you know, as these kids move around to all these different bases and also to civilian schools, it's often the teachers that are not understanding the issues that these military kids really have. If they're familiar with this, they know that kids kind of come in and go, and they'll probably move again in a couple of years. But Military Kids Connect has an entire section on military culture for teachers. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, actually, parents just love that we have that section. They realize that teachers spend more time during the day than they do with their children, every day of the week practically. So they really want the teachers to know or be kind of monitors of what's happening to their children from a day-to-day experience, or in school if they're having problems with grades or anything. And we want teachers to be open to ask military kids if they need some extra help. And by teaching them about the culture, they can better know when something might be wrong or why it might be wrong, and be able to have a better relationship with military kids in the classroom.
What's one of the things you'd want healthcare providers to know about working with military kids and these kinds of resources?
Military kids are very resilient. And so these resources are to support their resilience and to continue to keep them healthy. And so as a provider, I really just like kids to be aware of it so they can explore on their own what kinds of tools that are available to them in a fun way. But also as a provider, it's nice to be able to say, well, why don't you look at this section on Military Kids Connect? This is about another military kid living with a parent who has a brain injury. Maybe you can learn something from that.
Fantastic.
Yeah, the work you are doing, Kelly, to support military kids and their families is really making a difference. I mean, I know that from working directly with you, but I also see that in the research that is coming out and the research that you work on. And I just want to thank you for all the hard work that you do and the difference you're making to support the lives of our military families.
Hear, hear.
Thank you. And I always say I have one of the best jobs in the Department of Defense because I get to work with military kids.
So, Kelly, can we invite you back one more time to talk to us about resources for parenting?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, listeners, tune in next time.
Thank you for sharing Next Generation Behavioral Health on social media and subscribing and rating wherever you get your podcasts.
You can connect with us on Facebook and Twitter at Military Health, and our email address is in the show notes.
Next Generation Behavioral Health is produced by the Defense Health Agency.